This is my 1 month review of Boosteroid. I've been using the service for 1 month and now I can provide a review of how good I think the service is. I think overall I can say I've been surprised by how well the service works. You have a lot more games than other services, and latency isn't too bad if you live close to the data center. As you can see, my connection test, I get pretty good latency. So there are so many games you can play on the service as well, including popular games like GTA 5 and Fortnite and Elden Ring. Even Hogwarts Legacy you can play. So many other cloud gaming services like GeForce Now doesn't offer these games. Xbox Cloud Gaming doesn't offer these games. So that's one point Boosteroid has as an advantage over other services. And I actually tried Boosteroid. So as I said, I've been using Boosteroid for 1 month now, and the service is really good. Because the stream quality is better than I expected. I've heard a lot of complaints about the stream quality, but actually they recently upgraded to 24 megabits streaming, and it's really not bad at all. You have a very playable experience. It's not quite as good as native, obviously, but it's very playable. It gives you a very playable experience. You don't experience artifacting in the image, and you don't experience too much of blurriness or pixelation. And yeah, that's one area that Boosteroid really impressed me, is the stream quality. Even though it's only using 24 megabits per second, it does look pretty good despite that fact. And they actually increased the bitrate from before. It used to be much lower than that. It used to be about around 14. So one thing I've used Boosteroid for, actually, I used it for playing Overwatch 2, is my main game. And I have a MacBook, as you can see here. But not only is it good for playing on a MacBook, obviously you can use Boosteroid on any system, almost any system, because it has Chromebook support now as well, and it has Windows 10 support with the application, and any device that you can access a browser, pretty much you can play in the browser. I haven't tested it on Linux personally, but I imagine you could play in the browser. And they do have Debian application support. And they have the native macOS application now. There's no native iOS application at this point, but that's probably because of Apple's rules. But there is an Android application. I gave the Android application a try, and at first I wasn't too impressed, but then I tried it on my iPhone, and actually, even though I was doing it through the web browser on Safari, it still worked really well, because the screen was smaller, so you couldn't really tell that it's being streamed. And sometimes on mobile it's quite difficult to get a good connection, because it depends on your Wi-Fi. You can't connect Ethernet to your phone, so that's going to affect the stability of the connection. And there was a tiny bit of blurriness or pixelation, but it wasn't so bad that it was unusable. And I was really amazed, because I was playing Overwatch 2 on my phone. I say playing, but I wasn't really playing it, because it's still obviously very difficult to control on a phone with just the touch controls, because Overwatch 2 doesn't have any any custom-made touch controls, not like Fortnite. So with Overwatch, you would need to use a controller to play the game on your phone. But I was just watching my replays. It's really nice if you just want to watch your replay back from Overwatch, then you don't really need precision controls. You can just use the touch controls to navigate the menus, and you can watch your replays back, and then you can see how well you did in a game, and you can just watch players' perspectives from the replay system. It's one thing I like about Overwatch, is having the replay system. And obviously Rocket League has a replay system as well. Fortnite, I'm not sure, I think it has, but I know that Rocket League does. And you can watch your games back on your phone just with Boosteroid, which is really handy use for the service. And yeah, so mobile gaming is very much a possibility, and that really amazed me, because I never thought we would reach this point so soon, that I could play a AAA title like Overwatch 2 on my phone. Is amazing. And the next point I want to talk about is that they will be adding new servers. So lately, when I was trying the service, there was sometimes some occasions where I had a little bit of problems getting to the service, or it would put me in a server that wasn't my nearest data center. Sometimes it would put me in Paris or somewhere else, but what I understand is they will be bringing new servers, and that should improve things quite a bit. That should really improve things, because they will also be bringing 4K resolution and up to 120 FPS. That will really improve the image quality. I imagine they will be increasing the bitrate as well alongside that, so that should really help a lot. I would really like it if they also increased the bitrate on the basic version as well, even the 1080p version, because that will also help the image quality, even though it's already really good, but it could be even better. So the next point I would make is that the pricing is good. It's less than 10 euros per month if you're not subscribed to a yearly, but if you take the yearly option, then you'll get even cheaper, like less than 8 euros per month. Personally, I prefer the monthly option, because then you're not locked into like a 1-year subscription, and you can cancel at any time. So how does this compare to GeForce Now? So I've talked about the games. Obviously, it has a lot of games that GeForce Now doesn't have, and that's probably the biggest advantage. But there's also the fact that it comes with broadcast to YouTube. This is a very interesting feature that they recently added, is broadcast to YouTube. Straight to YouTube. You don't need any kind of additional application. You don't need any kind of like streaming application or streaming card. Like, you don't need OBS, and you don't need to use anything. Just the application or just the browser you can use to stream natively to YouTube, and it looks pretty good. It's a 1080p 30 FPS stream. It looks pretty good, so that's really cool, because you can just stream your games without having to use any additional system resources on your own system. So overall I'm very impressed with Boosteroid. There are some key areas that I would like to see improvement, like one thing I did notice was sometimes there's a little bit of frame drops and stuttering. It's like a micro stuttering. It's not super bad, but you do occasionally notice that the game has this micro stutter, like it'll drop down to around 45 to 50 FPS. It's not the game that's dropping, it's the stream itself. So if they manage to iron that out, then it would be a very playable experience. It would be super nice. It would just be like playing natively, pretty much. that's the only thing that reminds you that this is gaming in the cloud. Because apart from that, you completely forget that you're playing in the cloud, because it just feels like a normal gaming experience. And one other area I would suggest would be if they could bring the network stats to the macOS application. That would be really good. So you can check your ping, and you can check your bit rate. You can check the bit rate is fine, and you can see any frame loss or packet loss details, because that's what GeForce Now has. I think that would be great if Boosteroid did manage to add that. That would help a lot with diagnosing problems as well, and seeing if you're getting the best possible quality. And another thing I would suggest would be 16:10 aspect ratio support. That would be pretty good for MacBook users, because Boosteroid does have quite a few users on MacBooks and Apple laptops, and they tend to have a 16:10 aspect ratio, which is a resolution of 1920 by 1200. So if we could add that as a custom resolution, that would be great. If you could select that in some kind of a setting. And maybe they can offer an option for VSync or adaptive sync, either enabled, disabled, or adaptive, like NVIDIA GeForce has that. GeForce Now has something like that. And that could smooth out the image sometimes when you're not really playing. You don't really want to play with VSync, but when you're watching your games back, like in the replay, then it will smooth out the gameplay quite a bit. And yeah, so if they add all of these things, that would be really cool. As well as also upscaling. Upscaling would be good. Like a lot of people nowadays have 1440p monitors or 4K monitors. If they could have some kind of upscaling technology like GeForce Now does it, that would sharpen the image a bit when you're running at 1080p, and upscaling to say 1440p, like on a MacBook, then that would help the image look even sharper as well. And I would love to see a native recording functionality as well, like recording from the app itself, like NVIDIA GeForce Now has something like that. That would be good if you wanted to record your gameplay. But obviously you do have streaming, broadcast to YouTube, which is very good. So you don't really need it, but it would be nice to have. And it would be good if you could have broadcast YouTube on the application version as well, and not only on the web browser version. So overall, I've been very impressed with Boosteroid, and not only that, but they're also bringing 4K 120 soon, and that will take things even further. I was already satisfied with the service, but I can imagine it will look really amazing with 4K 120. So just to wrap it up, I think Boosteroid is definitely a competitor. I think it's leagues above better than Xbox Cloud Gaming in my experience, because obviously you get the benefit of mouse and keyboard support, which you don't get with Xbox Cloud Gaming, and it has more games than any other cloud gaming service, and it's well priced, and image quality is good enough, latency is good enough. Maybe you could improve latency a slight tiny bit, but it's not a big deal. The biggest issue is probably the frame drops that sometimes occur, and if that manages to get fixed, then it'll be perfect, I think. So overall, I 100% recommend Boosteroid. Give it a try if you have the speed, if you have the sufficient broadband for it. Then definitely give it a try. You can always do a speed test, and you should do a speed test before you buy the service. Do a speed test, just so you know your latency is good enough. You want less than 20 milliseconds of ping. And remember, you need to own the games that you want to play. So always, the free-to-play games, obviously you can play them for free. You just need an account. But the ones that need a license, like these God of War, these you need to purchase on the distributor, like Steam or Epic Games. and yeah, as long as you have that, you should be fine. So it's very easy to recommend Boosteroid. I see a very good future for the service and cloud gaming in general. If you have any questions about the service, then feel free to let me know, post a comment, and I'll try to assist with any problems people face. Because once you overcome the technical issues with cloud gaming, it really does become such a huge convenience to be able to play any of these games, not have to install them and not have to download updates, and not have to keep uninstalling to free up space. All of these things just make it such a smooth experience. It's like as good as a console. Smoothness for accessibility and just general ease of use. It's so easy to use these cloud gaming services once you get the hang of them. And Boosteroid is definitely going the right direction. So thanks for watching and listening to my review of Boosteroid, 1 month review. I'll be doing another review in another few months, maybe even next month, as I continue to experience the service more. Thank you for watching.